From a strange late-night call in Idaho that spiraled into a deadly shootout, to intense standoffs echoing with gunfire, and young women in their 20s driving drunk with no sense of consequence, this isn't your average police footage. Welcome to some of the most insane and pulse-pounding police chases you'll ever see. Around 6 p.m. on August 1st, 2024, in Meridian, Idaho, a heated family dispute spiraled into chaos at a busy intersection when the suspect was caught smashing a vehicle before vanishing into the crowd. It didn't take long for police to spot his white RAV4, but as they moved in, he hit the gas and fled. A reckless decision, and a moment of sheer stupidity. In a bizarre twist, the suspect called 911 in the middle of the chase, begging for advice while admitting he had a Glock 19. Desperate and cornered, he said he'd rather die than go back to prison. His plea for officers to back off signaled a bad ending.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Stay back! Hands! Show us your hands! Back up! Back up! Get out of the car! Show me your hands!
As the suspect merged onto westbound I-84, Sergeant Geisel executed a precise Piet maneuver, spinning the RAV4 to a stop. Officers drew their weapons and issued commands as the suspect stepped out, holding a Glock. He refused to drop it. Perceiving a deadly threat, Sergeant Geisel and two deputies opened fire. The suspect collapsed. The firearm was recovered. Medical aid was rendered immediately after.
Show me your hands!
The suspect, Bainbridge, was hospitalized in critical condition before being booked into Ada County Jail. He faced charges of felony domestic battery and felony fleeing, while grand theft and robbery were dropped in a plea deal. Stray rounds hit a nearby water park, but no injuries occurred. All involved officers were cleared of misconduct. At 9:44 p.m. on Friday, January 10, 2025, in Brooklyn's 69th precinct, what started as a routine prisoner transport took a sudden and violent turn. As officers moved through East 80th Street and Flatlands Avenue, a gunshot rang out, followed by a suspect, roughly 50 years old, breaking into a run with a firearm in hand. What exactly triggered the chaos? The officers moved quickly. Sergeant Salzman and Officer Zahir pursued on foot, while Wilson and Okafor followed closely in a patrol car. Despite multiple commands to stop, the suspect continued running north on East 80th Street. He eventually hid behind a tree in front of 754 East 80th Street. And that's where the tension exploded. From behind the tree, the suspect suddenly raised his gun, first aiming at Officer Zahir, then swinging the barrel toward Sergeant Salzman. In a split-second life-or-death decision, the officers responded. A burst of gunfire shattered the night. 13 shots fired in rapid succession. The suspect was struck and taken into custody shortly after. Suspect Munra Durham, 50, was transported to Brookdale Hospital. His firearm was recovered at the scene. Durham faces charges of weapon possession, threatening officers, and reckless endangerment. NYPD is investigating and building the case. No officers were injured. Death smiled and walked away.
I don't need a bunch of units in the pursuit. Everybody else.
At 11 p.m. on April 25, 2025, a white Ford dually tore through North Little Rock streets, weaving wildly down East Broadway. With business plates and no intention of stopping, the driver forced officers into a high-stakes pursuit. And what happened next is something you truly have to see to believe.
Take it, sir. Wait, stay past me. takedown number 2.
Our primary. It'll be a white one-ton dually, single cab, business tags. We're going to be what's on.
The Ford dually tore westbound. A chain or something like it, dangling from the wheel lift, grinding against the asphalt and throwing off fiery sparks into the night. Each flash of metal against pavement turned the pursuit into an even greater hazard for the officers closing in from behind.
Going back east on West 10th Street.
32, 58. I'm your Pike in 12.
Coming back east on 13th Street.
It didn't stop there. Throughout the chase, chunks of metal and debris from the pickup truck scattered across the road, clanging like hidden blades. One patrol car was hit, forcing the officer to swerve hard to avoid damage. Another vehicle ran over a sharp fragment, blowing a tire at high speed. The pursuit turned into a deadly run through a minefield of metal.
Everybody else, stay forward. 32 left. 100 secondary. I'll follow. We're north on Franklin from 15. We had 1 sub TBI. North on Franklin. Selfie good. East on 17. Coming back up the Pike.
Up on a slab. Come on. 1022 here at the Circle K on Pike.
Okay, look, I've got a slab. Come on, I'm 1022 here at the Circle K on Pike. Hey, 34, I'm going to get through that door. Okay.
32 right up front. He shrank my unit.
The pursuit hit its breaking point near Pike Avenue, where troopers launched a precision TVI, spinning the massive truck to a halt. But the suspect wouldn't surrender, clinging to the wheel, shouting for help. With weapons drawn, troopers rushed in. After a tense standoff inside the cab, they dragged him out and took control.
Let go of the steering wheel.
The driver was arrested on scene, facing serious charges, including felony fleeing and assaulting an officer. No injuries were reported, but the danger was real. This high-speed chase tore through one of North Little Rock's busiest roads and could have ended far worse. One thing is certain, he'll have to answer in court for every reckless choice he made. At 7:46 p.m. on July 16, 2024, along Wisconsin Road, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper spotted a black Harley-Davidson illegally passing across double yellow lines. What the officer expected to be a simple citation took a sharp turn when the rider pretended to pull over, then suddenly hit the throttle and took off, triggering a tense high-speed pursuit. The suspect fled at 83 miles per hour, steering with one hand while repeatedly taunting law enforcement with bold hand gestures. He wasn't even wearing a helmet, and chose to escape on an old, slow, heavy Harley-Davidson. That was beyond stupid. This guy's out of his mind. The introduction was quick, but anything but friendly, between the officer and the suspect. It ended with a profanity-laced farewell as the rider twisted the throttle and sped off. Apparently, his grand plan was to outrun the cops or wait for their fuel tanks to run dry, all while riding a lumbering 800-pound Harley. The chase ended in unforgettable fashion. Just as the Harley slowed down, the suspect was launched off the seat by a tackle straight out of the NFL. One trooper flew in, while the other leapt over the bike like a ballerina in boots. Escorted off the motorcycle has never looked this cool, or this painful. The rider was arrested and charged with felony fleeing, reckless driving, and operating a vehicle with a suspended license for the third time. Although he claimed he was just looking for a place to put the kickstand down, the video tells a very different story. Florida Highway Patrol troopers Davis and Roselle worked together to stop and apprehend the suspect. At around 10:15 p.m. on December 13, 2023 in Wheaton, Maryland, Montgomery County Police attempted to stop a white Nissan Maxima near Bucknell Drive. But instead of complying, the suspect suddenly rammed into a patrol car and sped off, igniting a high-stakes pursuit with an ending no one could have predicted.
Yep, left onto Bucknell. Left onto Bucknell.
Back out towards calling out. 127 miles per location. Hold on, we're on right and a left on the front.
After fleeing, the suspect sped wildly down Georgia Avenue, barreling through a residential area for over 1.5 miles. He cut across officers attempting to block him and vanished in an instant. Police launched an intense high-speed pursuit, but still couldn't match the reckless speed at which he was escaping.
Northbound Georgia at Blue Ridge. Hey, patrol, get in front of me, my car is messing up. Patrol, just get in front of 1247. Right to right. Henderson.
It was a horrifying scene. The Nissan slammed into the median and shot into oncoming traffic. The collision with two other vehicles was brutal. Metal twisted like paper, debris scattered everywhere. When you look at the crash site, it hits you hard. This isn't for the faint of heart. Consider looking away, because what follows may stay with you long after.
Hey, put your hands up! Hands up!
Hands up! Keep your hands up! I'm hands up.
Hands up, hands on, I'm hands on.
One more, there's one more.
Where's you at?
2 individuals in addition to the one that's strapped in. Yes, please. So 3 transports totaled up.
Seeing the car flipped over and crushed beyond recognition, it's hard to believe he was still moving. Unreal. Hopefully those he collided with weren't seriously hurt. That was a near-death moment. And not everyone gets that kind of luck.
We can't get him. Don't give me his back. He's trying to.
The suspect, identified as Randall Jr., 19, fled for 1.5 miles on Georgia Avenue before crashing into a median, crossing into oncoming traffic, and colliding with 2 other vehicles. A teenage passenger was pronounced dead at the scene. Randall was injured but survived, and was sentenced to 8 years in prison and 5 years of probation for multiple serious charges, including vehicular manslaughter, fatal hit and run, and failure to stop after an accident. On December 31, 2023, in Massillon, Ohio, Sergeant Crabtree stopped a car after spotting multiple traffic violations. Behind the wheel was a hostile 21-year-old woman who calmly slipped on headphones as he approached. When officers found an open container between her legs, the situation escalated fast, though she swore she hadn't been drinking. She backed up so close the officer had to ask, "Is this a DUI test or a slow dance audition?"
Alright? I know it's been 0. You literally had an open bottle in front of your legs.
That wasn't mine.
You dumped it out of the car. It's sitting between your legs.
And what?
All these tests are determined. I didn't open containers in the car.
No, I didn't. No. Nothing.
After the initial check, Sergeant Crabtree noticed signs of alcohol and clear intoxication in the woman. Without hesitation, he moved on to sobriety tests. And from that moment on, things started to escalate quickly.
What I want you to do, keep your arms out your side. Nope, keep your arms out your side. Down your sides. Pull your shirt up. This is difficult. You're alright. Just go and zip it up. You're good.
I'm sick. Can somebody give me a tissue?
What's that?
I'm sick.
Okay.
Can somebody give me a tissue?
You're looking back there. My finger's over here and your eyes are that way.
Okay.
Are you willing to try this or not? Listen, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, alright? I'm trying to give you a chance to prove that you're okay to be driving. Because right now I don't think you are. But I'm trying to give you the
Let's
benefit
go.
of the doubt, alright? See how my finger went back in? We're still looking over there. That's what I'm talking about. You're not willing to finger.
I'm sorry.
Again, but that's
There's so many of
from doing such simple directions. You've been mother effing me. I've been more than respectful.
You have no idea.
Okay.
How excited were you, dumbass?
You want to continue this?
Yes. Hey, mother. Tissue.
Miranda, if I had a tissue, I would get you a tissue. Right now.
In my cabin, do you all?
Alright.
Go.
Left foot on the line, right foot touching the toe. Stay in that position. Alright, I'm going to do 3 steps. You're going to do Stop. You have any questions?
Nope.
Alright, good time. Alright, you may begin whenever you're ready. Keep your arms at your side. Look at your foot, kind of line, like I told you. Kind of lock. So go on that time, stop.
Unsteady during the sobriety tests, she started crying, arguing, and flat out refusing to follow instructions. Despite insisting she could walk straight, she failed every test. Officers immediately placed her in handcuffs and transported her to the station for a formal blood alcohol test.
Wait, no. I need my shit.
Brandon,
I need my
show the charge.
Can you give me my
I'll grab your stuff. What do you got in the car?
I need to get pregnant. This is so fucked up.
While waiting in the patrol car, she somehow managed to slip out of her handcuffs, then erupted into screams, kicking and thrashing inside the vehicle. If this were your daughter, what would you think? Shocked, angry, or just completely speechless at what you're seeing?
Get out.
No,
Okay, you're gonna break the flag.
I swear my nicotine, bro. I just want my nicotine. All I wanted was my nicotine, you motherfucker.
Actually pulled under her legs.
Yeah.
Because it was still
Yeah, I just pulled it on this thing. You think all you need is to continue my nicotine, and you said you would, and you refused. And you refused to get. I can't. You're a stupid idiot. I can't say this. I can't.
Miranda, relax.
Okay, I'm relaxed.
No, you're not.
At the station, she kicked an officer while being restrained, and that's when it spiraled. For over 20 minutes, she screamed for nicotine, cried for help, and threatened to destroy the neighborhood. Though she demanded a breath test, she refused to give a valid sample. Officers had no choice but to strap her into a restraint chair. One reckless kick turned a DUI into a felony.
They'll put you in a special unit when you get to the county. Stop kicking. Stop. But you stop. Try it. You're pull them off, dumbass. We're trying to get better. Today, going to school. Go to sitting 20 or 9 on the rest of the state ODI. Take a couple tests, you will face increased penalties if you subsequently are convicted of the state ODI. If you take any chemical test required by law and are found to be at or over the prohibited amount of alcohol of the full-time or metabolite.
The suspect, Miranda, was charged with operating a vehicle impaired, OVI, and felony assault on a police officer, and the court showed no leniency. She was fined $375, sentenced to 3 days in jail, ordered to complete 180 days of residential treatment, assigned 100 hours of community service, had her driver's license suspended for 1 year, and received 2 years of probation. Every action has its price, and the one she paid came swiftly and heavily. On March 22, 2025, in Arkansas, state police and Washington County deputies spotted Jacob Kenneth Dunn driving a gray 2019 Kia Sorento. When officers attempted to stop the vehicle, Dunn hit the gas and sped off, launching a large-scale, high-risk pursuit that was only just beginning.
Eastbound, Emma. Eastbound, Emma.
Where he's at. Pull up when you want your carriage want us to take over.
Definitely go primary.
The chase had just begun, yet danger escalated fast as the suspect weaved through lanes, ran red lights, and sped through traffic, desperately trying to shake off the officers. But the real question is, how long can he keep this up?
We're going to be south on Maxville. We're eastbound Emma. My apologies. South on Maxville.
Speed filled out. University listening.
As an officer attempted a TVI maneuver, it seemed the pursuit was over. But suddenly, the suspect regained control and turned onto Butterfield Coach Road. His speed kept climbing as he blew through red lights and entered a one-way street, pushing the traffic safety situation into a full-scale red alert. As the suspect turned onto Weddington Drive and tried to flee northbound on Steamboat, the moment of truth arrived. Corporal Benton took action, delivering a textbook TVI that launched Dunn's vehicle onto the shoulder. One decisive impact brought the chaotic pursuit to an abrupt and dramatic end.
Shut your mouth! Shut your mouth, we're not talking. Get out, get on your knees. Pull out the driver's side.
Dunn now faces felony, fleeing, first-degree criminal mischief, and reckless driving. With video evidence, damaged patrol units, and dangerous behavior in residential zones, prosecutors are pushing for the max. After repeatedly defying the law, Dunn's run is over. And this time, there's no escape.
Miles an hour, you think my patience is...
Hold on, what did I do? Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet.
Hopefully, the sobbing girl will see this as a wake-up call. Next time, think twice before getting in a car with a wanted fugitive. Bad choices always come with a price. You've just witnessed some heart-pounding chases, men, but trust me, what's coming next is even crazier. Sharper pits, more dangerous getaways, and twists no one saw coming. Don't miss out. Subscribe and hit the bell so you're always the first to watch. See you in the next pursuit.